you know, this is up here, the primary role besides having fun is to help on the blind stuff.
Okay, we're on port side of Spectacle Island. This is a fill area right now for the MWRA while they're dredging Boston Harbor and constructing the third harbor tunnel. They're dumping all the
Those aren't fun.
Small but powerful.
Yeah, we've been doing some maintenance on these lights over the past couple of years since they've been attached as officer in charge.
These buildings right here
Using
is
for what I would call prime viewing spot. You can see the ships coming down the main channel, making their turn here off at Deer Island and Long Island and heading into the inner harbor. But I'm going to slow down here so people can take pictures. And but I think they've done a real good job getting the storybooks say about this. It was shortly after that the U.S. Army took over this lighthouse, and Arthur Small, as I mentioned before, who was the last civilian keeper up at Marblehead, was assigned here as an Army...
a tunnel 9 miles out into the harbor, out beyond Graves Light, out in the vicinity.
Out to the graves right now.
Yeah, black and white. Each place where he stopped.
Everybody goes to one side.
I'm curious about the pattern of the window panes on this before they color the window. Beautiful or hexagonal or diamond pattern? Technology bypassed us that otherwise would have allowed us to become one of the most advanced lighthouse departments in the world. The property over here belonged to a Mr. Brown, who originally asked $500 for the property. He settled for a lesser amount to allow the lighthouse to be built out here. Congress appropriated $4,500 to build the first lighthouse. In 43 years in the United States Lighthouse Service, when he chose to retire, he spent 10 years on board the lighthouse tender, and for 1/3 of a century he was here at Marblehead Light. Many members of the surrounding community were said to have missed him when he left the service. Harry Martin became the keeper when Edward Rogers left the light in 1938. This is the year that one of the greatest hurricanes in New England, of course, happened here. The hurricane of 38 was phenomenal in that it destroyed many lighthouses along the New England coastline. But Keeper Martin was equal to the task, and that during the hurricane, Marblehead lost power.
The residents like the shade of brown, so it's scheduled to be painted in within 5 years.
A year or so back, the Coast Guard spent $100 and some odd thousand painting this lake. However, some of the residents don't appreciate the shade of brown. So within the next 5 years, there will be...
He's looking at me like, what are you doing?
I'm going to push you up.
Hi!
Before this is almost a 200-year-old lighthouse, so it's not totally unexpected that a lot of damage has resulted from the explosion of the northeast wind. But it is going to be fixed. So there are 2 lighthouses. That is the cistern house directly in front of you.
I see that blinking. See that blinking light in the window? That's the fog detector. That sends a beam of light and it doesn't return within a quarter mile.
Okay, Chief Walker just pointed out to me the cistern house, the fog horn is on top of the house. If you look carefully, you'll see a blinking light. That is the fog signal in the window. The window of this this square building in front of you. As I mentioned before.
Yep.
Okay, our next stop is going to be Eastern Point Light, Gloucester Harbor. So if you look on the Scottish Miles, we're turning south. You see a cluster of white houses up there, that's where it is. A little question over here about this building over here off the Fort Mile. Looks like a lighthouse. It's not. This is the steeple of a church over here in Manchester by the sea.
Okay. Watch the day.
We'll give both sides of the vessel an equal opportunity here to take photographs of Eastern Point Light. Good thing it's high tide here. We can get up pretty close here this afternoon.
No, you know what? We'll get closer and turn around. We'll get much
Go any closer than this. It's a little funky.
now when you go be bitching.
Right. You can see what the coasties who live there do. Look along that fence. They go up, pick up all the lobster pot markers as they wash ashore. My wife does that too. I don't know what the value of it is. Does add a little bit to the backyard.
You look carefully up top on the trolley mast, you can see the emergency beacon. The main beacon goes out.
Chief Walter just pointed out that if you look just above the lantern room with the red cap on it, that there's a small mast there. That is the emergency beacon in case the main light goes out. For those of you in the artistic community, those of you who appreciate fine art, this was also one of the most visited, one of the most painted spas by Edwin Hopper, who's probably one of the greatest American watercolor and oil artists.
Where the bright lights are, it would be just about where the Miller House restaurant is. What you have to do is go in the harbor and go out now. This is the lighthouse you see. That's the lighthouse.
From the deposit bridge that we can get to from Boston now, there is a remains of an old pier there where that granite was loaded onto a barge, more specifically called the Stone Sloop, which was built specifically for the granite industry in Quincy. The granite was carried down a plane, or the center of the lantern room is about 114 feet above the water. It does not appear to be that high from here, but it is. If you can really get in close to that tower next to it, with a matter of it, you can appreciate how big this thing is.
Yep.
There are recorded instances of the workmen who worked out here building this tower, that some of the men did get swept off. And again.
Gentleman who happened to be a Boston pilot, also a harbor pilot by the name of George Worthylake, ignited a piece of mechanism and a great lens to look at. And another thing, if you have a day when the wind happens to be out of the northwest and you don't have the haze that we have today, what a view you get from electricity from the mainland, or they use electricity from solar power or batteries. This particular lighthouse gets its power from the Hull Light Company, along with.
So if you want to read more about that, I suggest you pick up a book called Lighthouse Family. The Hull Life Saving Museum has copies of that.
look just off starboard quarter, the rocks that you see with all the birds, they're known as shag rocks. Those are cormorants. And if you live in Hull and you drive by the Hull Yacht Club in the early morning hours, you will see a number of birds heading south.
Oh, get right up there, son. Take that. Oh, there it is. Oh, you take that.
This light, as I said, electrically powered now from the town of Hull. And it has a candle power of 1.8 million. And it is all comes from a 1,000 watt bulb. And it does a little magnifying through the lens to get all of that candle power. And now we've got to